we need to keep filling these compost bins up with seaweed. So we're gonna take the truck out and get one load today. That's all we have time for. We're gonna take you guys along with us. That's probably good. Okay, all done and ready to go home. It's almost 4 o'clock, so it's getting dark. I keep it up at this rate the whole time. So fast, so strong. Just joking. My idea was to layer a bunch of tarps on. Put some seaweed on the base tarp, put a tarp, another smaller tarp down, fill that with seaweed, another tarp down, sandwiched all the way up, and then you could just take the tarp and drag it in. I'm gonna have to get the headlamp out pretty soon. Tarp idea is starting to sound better and better. This is the bin that we filled up last night with seaweed. It already had a couple feet of composting seaweed from the last time. And wow, it's already sunk down. It was pretty much up to that top board there, and it's come down already a foot. This stuff had a lot more sand in it and had already been breaking down on the beach, so it was a lot more dense than what we've had the last few trips. That stuff was a lot more fluffy. There wasn't as much seaweed out there yesterday when we went and got the seaweed compared to times in the past, but we were able to get a full load. It gets dark about 4 o'clock around here now, so by the time we got back here it was dusk, and then it got dark as we were shoveling it out. Afterwards we hosed the truck, the outside and the the underside, and then we pulled the tarp out, fold it up, and hose out the bed, just in case we get a little bit of salt in there. We don't want it rusting out the truck. People asked me in the last video about composting. They asked, you know, is there any danger of, you know, putting this seaweed with all the salt in it into the garden? You know, salt content is about 3.5% in seawater, so it's really not that much. Tyler tasted one of the seaweed things. Actually, I should probably taste it. I don't know. Probably pretty gross, right? Sandy. It's not really that salty. And people around here just use it on their gardens. You know, for years and years they've done that. There's a farm called Farragut Farm. It is on the mainland, northeast of Petersburg, which Petersburg is on Mitkoff Island, which is north of Wrangell Island, where I'm at. And if you go to Farragut Farm's Facebook page, I'll leave a link in the video description below to their Facebook page. They show pictures of, you know, seaweed on their garlic beds, and, you know, in fact, it's kind of interesting. There's a somewhat recent photo of a big old compost pile that they have just sitting out there. So you might want to take a look at their Facebook page. A lot of really interesting things to look at there, and they have some pretty impressive produce. I used to sell it at the little store that I used to run. This is my first time composting just seaweed all by itself. What's interesting, I was a little bit afraid that it would stink, but it doesn't. You know, we've got neighbors around here, and I was afraid it would stink, but it really doesn't smell bad at all. Once it gets really compact, you know, it starts to anaerobically compost, but you have to kind of get into it, you know, and start digging it out, and then you can start smelling it a little bit. But that was really interesting to find out. So yeah, I used some partially composted seaweed this season, and I'm interested to find out, you know, how long this takes to fully compost, you know, to actually, you know, look like soil. Regardless, it's really nice to use just the partially composted stuff. The plants just love it. There's a new YouTube channel, Poxtiano Dirt Frog, and like my new channel, he's just started up, so we are challenging each other to put out a video, at least one per week. So I'm going to be doing that. You should check out his channel. I'll put a link in the video description below. He's got a lot of cool things, digging up sweet potatoes, harvesting persimmons, going out on mushroom hunts, so check that out. If you like the video that I did today, please give it a thumbs up, and also please subscribe, and I will talk to you next week.